Hi everyone, thanks for listening in again to InCorp Group's Pro Business podcast series. I'm Eric here, your usual host, the Chief Business Development Officer of the group. And today, I have my co-host Alton, as well as our colleague from our Indonesia office, Mia. So maybe Alton, you want to do a quick self-intro?
Sure, thanks Eric. Welcome everyone back to our podcast series. As Eric has introduced, my name is Alton. I'm the Deputy Chief Operating Officer of InCorp Group. And today, we're very privileged to have with us our colleague from Indonesia, Mia. I'll leave Mia to do a self-introduction about herself.
All right. Thank you, Eric and Alton, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Mia, and I'm the co-founder and Chief Operating Officer from InCorp Indonesia, or also known as Cekindo.
Thank you, Mia. So for all the listeners here today, InCorp Group is a Singapore headquartered group that specialises in providing corporate services as well as various forms of business advisory in 7 countries within South Asia. For more details of what we do and where we operate, please visit www.incorp.asia for more information. Today's episode will focus 100% on Indonesia. For companies who are looking to expand into the country, we will use a Q&A style as usual to discuss important points that includes general business outlook of the country, including key country stats, key industries that are trending in the country or will do well, key states or cities within the country that will be suitable for foreign companies to consider, favorable government policies for companies such as incentives, such as tax exemptions, and we will close off with a brief company setup process as well as some of the legal entity options available. So maybe Alton, I'll let you ask the first question then.
Sure. Mia, I'm sure a lot of us, who are listening in are very interested about the latest developments in Indonesia and so on. And of course, the COVID situation has gotten quite bad and it hit across many countries, and Indonesia is not spared. So maybe you want to give us a brief business outlook about how Indonesia is currently dealing with the situation, as well as to share with us some of the demographics, age group, and so on about Indonesia, who are especially for those of the foreign investors who are looking to invest in the country.
Sure. Indonesia is by far the largest economy and the most populous country in Southeast Asia. In the world, Indonesia is the 15th largest economy with nominal GDP of more than $1 trillion and the 4th largest population with total more than 260 million people, where almost 70% are in the productive ages between 15 to 64 years old, and more than 50% of population in urban areas with increasing middle-class income and purchasing power, which offers a great potential for foreign investors in any sizes. From the macroeconomic side, Indonesia GDP growth is relatively consistent for about 5 to 6% in the past 10 years. For the 2020 full year, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the GDP contracted by 1 to 2%, driven by shrinking household spending, which accounts for more than half of Indonesia's GDP. However, with all government efforts to hold and control the pandemic through regular updates on the regulations based on the COVID situations, to ensure the health protocols, control public events, as well as vaccines implementation, the projection for 2021 will return positive to 5% of GDP growth. Now, we are in the Q1 of 2021, and the government has started the vaccine implementation. I see that the economy trend and household spending are improving. Also, the office operation has been increased to 50% capacity to ensure the companies can maintain their performance to support the economic growth.
Thank you, Mia. I think the COVID situation is key for all our listeners here today. Maybe as a follow-up question, to talk about the government. In terms of, we have been hearing on reading a lot about the government trying to pass the Omnibus law. And with this Omnibus law, how does it impact or affect foreign companies who wants to invest into Indonesia?
Mhm. I believe this omnibus law is a favorable government policies, especially for foreign investors in Indonesia. In general, I would say there are a lot of improvements on regulations and bureaucracy in Indonesia, which are reflected on a simpler and shorter policy implementation, which have created a more favorable business environment for foreign investor to dig in more potential growth in the future in Indonesia. The world's growing interest in Indonesia, I believe, also attributed to the government efforts to attract more foreign investors, especially the current government under President Jokowi, as you mentioned, also has recently issued this omnibus law, including several foreign investment friendly policies, especially including the simplification of the country's bureaucracy across many aspects, such as the company registration, permits, and taxation. Some of the regulations, introduction, for example, a single window investment platform, which speed ups and integrates the whole investment process, which helps foreign investors to open in Indonesia faster than ever for about 1 week. Another policy is the introduction of lower corporate income tax for a newly established company to be only 0.5% from revenue, as well as fiscal incentives, such as the tax holidays for some priority sectors. And then even just a little bit additional after this few months of the omnibus law, also the president currently just circulated a draft of presidential decree, which then more to liberalize the Indonesian foreign investment regime even more and open for more business lines. So the direction is the government will reduce the foreign investor limitation. So we'll open up more business field for foreigners as well.
Thanks, Mia. So since we are touching on this point, so what are some of the key industries that is trending or important in the country?
Earlier this year, the government of Indonesia has expressed its commitment to bring the nation's investment trend to the next level. The ability to maintain macroeconomic stability will be advantageous for the investment climate in this country. For those who want to be part of this promising future, so there are 4 prospective sectors for investment in Indonesia. These sectors have a rapid and consistent growth pattern during the past years. So the first one is manufacturing. Indonesia government has realized that developing the manufacturing industry will bring huge opportunity for many sectors. Because manufacturing industry will surely be a huge investment for improving facilities needed by the people of Indonesia. So more facilities can lead more opportunities, right? Such as job vacancies, economic growth, major distribution improvement, and at the same time will prove also how good the investment works so far. Then the second one is tourism. Tourism has become Indonesia's big asset, which is why this sector has a higher return for investment. The country's culture, scenery, unique traditional customs, and over thousands different local languages have been attracting the world to know more about wonderful Indonesia. The exotic sides of Indonesia, also an enticing aspect to bring profitable advantage, helping the economy to grow rapidly in the short amount of time. So the tourism will grow simultaneously with many other industries, such as retail products for hoteliers, local fashion trends, as well as the local culture begins to introduce worldwide as well, and the arts and crafts for the visitors. And the third one is e-commerce. The next prospective investment sector is the e-commerce business, which has been playing an important role on how the market and the customer behavior has changed lately in Indonesia. E-commerce and people's day-to-day needs is inseparable. Another good reason for this sector is about the social habits of many Indonesians who cherish the use of technology in their daily activities. Indonesia has become one of the highest social media users in the world, meaning that access to the online market has widely opened. And this is why e-commerce startups in Indonesia keep growing rapidly as well.
Mm.
And the fourth one, the last but not least, is the infrastructure. The manufacturing industry, tourism, e-commerce, and all of these prospective sectors are bringing major impacts on how the infrastructure in this country will evolve. It is already visible, as seen from the massive efforts of the government to build new transportation routes on the underdeveloped regions throughout Indonesia in recent years. Not only focusing even in the Java Island, but even in the island as well. More routes and public transportation have been opened, resulting in better access to a lot more area across Indonesia. A better infrastructure will create an opportunity for the eastern regions to improve their living, which naturally then will drive the economy to go up. Properties, tourist attractions, and various job opportunities for the locals are the source of income to improve the economy and catch up with the region near the nation's capital on the Java Island. So these investment sectors surely bring a great opportunity for those who plan to start business in Indonesia. And good news for the investors to bring in their innovations, technology, and improvement and turn it into a profitable business.
Great. Thanks, Mia. I think that is very informative. And I think following up from one of your points that you mentioned, especially at your first, the fastest growing industry that will be of interest to a lot of our listeners here will be the manufacturing industry. So, and I think that a lot of us, when we first think of Indonesia, the first city that comes to mind is Jakarta. So what other cities or states that would be suitable for foreign investments? And if let's say if I were to set up my factory in one state and then I have my headquarters in another state, is that possible?
Right. Yeah. Indonesia is known as the largest country in Southeast Asia, with a total land of more than 1.9 million kilometers square and divided into 33 provinces. As archipelagos country, Indonesia has more than 17,000 islands with 5 major islands. There are Java, Sumatra, Kalimantan, or Borneo, Sulawesi, or Celebes, and Papua. So besides Jakarta and Bali, because Bali also usually the most well known in Indonesia. So here is the list of 5 potential cities for foreign investment. The first one is Surabaya. Surabaya is the capital city of East Java and the second largest city in Indonesia after Jakarta, the nation's capital. It is one of the Indonesian cities with the highest property growth. One of the reasons is because the city is a business gate for companies that want to invest in the eastern region of Indonesian provinces. And apart from that, Surabaya is also lucrative for its manufacturing, trading, construction, and retail sectors. The second one is Semarang. The development of industrial areas in Semarang, as well as the growth of agriculture, retail, and trading sectors, make this capital city of Central Java a perfect destination for investment. As one of the access points in Indonesia, Semarang has adequate infrastructure and distribution channels. Moreover, Semarang is one of the cities with dense population. So because of its demographic, many companies are labor-intensive companies, such as apparel, machinery, and textile. And the third city is Bandung. Bandung is another great city for investment and also a great place to live in. This city is famous for its creative people. There are many startup companies now attracting the people and the government for new ideas. Some great potentials for investment in this capital city of West Java, including creative industries such as e-commerce, advertising, fashion and apparel design, also technology, telecommunication, tourism, hospitality, and industrial sectors. The fourth city is Medan. Medan, the capital city of North Sumatra, has vast area as the third largest city in Indonesia and the first largest city outside Java. Medan has strategic location with its main seaport that contributes 20% of the total export in containers in Indonesia. It shows that trading is one of the strengths in this city, besides other sectors such as manufacturing, retail, food and beverages, mining, and chemical. The fifth one, the last but not least, is Makassar. Makassar is the capital city of South Sulawesi, which is the largest city in the eastern Indonesia region. In the leadership of the current mayor, has issued a policy to invite foreign investors in some of its mega projects, including transportation, energy, maritime, fishery, trading, tourism, healthcare, property, and infrastructure. Especially for the property, the chief of Indonesian real estate said that the prospect of real estate development in Makassar is positive due to high economic development in Sulawesi. So overall, as the development becoming increasingly spread throughout the countries, this means more investment opportunities emerges in many cities for foreign investors in any business sectors.
Thank you, Mia. So for a company that's looking to go into Indonesia, they will go direct to the top 5 cities you're talking about to incorporate entity, or they should still set up the office or the main office in Jakarta first, and then set up their businesses in various parts of Indonesia. Is this possible?
Yes, sure. This is possible. Yeah, this is good question because both ways are possible. A lot of companies choose to set up their head office in Jakarta as the capital city in Indonesia. As the capital city, Jakarta also usually has simpler administrative process or even can be faster. Therefore, it is good to keep the head office in Jakarta as their main business address. However, for their manufacturing plan or more into their production plan, they may also have their branch or their main operation in the other cities. However, some companies also may choose directly when they have also established base or offices in the other cities. They may also directly set up their business address and all operation there. So both are possible. Yeah.
I understand. So Mia, maybe you can share with us. Now that you talk about the many numerous opportunities in the country, so what are some of the government policies, right, to attract foreign companies to invest in the country, such as incentives or exemptions?
Yeah, as a bit mentioned earlier, that the current government definitely focusing on attracting foreign investors more into Indonesia. Therefore, what is very visible is that they focus on these two things. The first one is to make the bureaucracy and administrative process much simpler and faster. Also, it is more accessible, meaning more open to the foreign investment. Therefore, then they now the direction is the government should make more business fields open for foreign investors, as well as make the registration process simpler and faster throughout revolutionary, let's say, permit registration process. And then the second one connected with the fiscal incentive, especially for example, the tax holidays. They also reduce the corporate income tax, as well as providing also tax holidays for some priority sectors.
Yes, thanks, Mia. I think that is something very good news for the foreign investors who are looking to invest into Indonesia, especially now that we hear from you that the present government is very, very open to foreign investments. So if our listeners right here, all right, would like to start their business in Indonesia, what is the best kind of setup business setup that you would advise? Is it a company, sole proprietorship, or what kind of business form is the most appropriate and advantageous? And what is the timeline or the speed at which a company can be incorporated, for example?
All right. So according to the business plan, there are 3 types of companies that the investors can start up or be part of. The first one is the Foreign Limited Liability Company, or in here we call it as PT-PMA. This is an Indonesian legal entity that can be owned by a foreigner for up to 100%. For the PT-PMA, the maximum foreign ownership is determined by the business sectors and its activity, which are generally listed in the regulation called the Indonesian Negative Investment List, which previously I mentioned that now the president issuing the degree to
loosen up.
Yeah, correct. The foreign limitation. And then the second type is the local PT company, which is the Indonesian legal entity that has to be fully owned by the locals 100%. The only possibility of a foreign investment is through the professional shareholder service, which will be based on the special loan agreement. So for these two entities, right, the difference is the percentage of foreign investment. So sometimes why the foreigner may choose the local PT company because, for example, the limitation that the business field is not open for foreigner. Therefore, then there could be need some special arrangement to accommodate the requirements. And then the third type is the representative office. So this is commonly considered as a branch office of a parent company overseas. So this entity is intended for market research and marketing activities or the preparation of the PT-PMA establishment in Indonesia. However, no direct selling or revenue generation is allowed within such a representative office. So as for the timeline, initially before this all these new regulations, to establish the PT, PMA or the local PT company can take up to 2 months. However, now with the ease of the new administration, we can open the office even as soon as 1 until 2 weeks, depending on how quick we do the preparation as well. But it can go that fast.
Oh, that's great news, Mia. I'm sure a lot of our listeners are now excited about the faster registration process and so on. So thanks, Mia, for the very insightful conversation that we have today. And that's the end of our podcast series. And together with Eric, we thank you very much for your contributions and your insights to our listeners.
All right.
Thank you very much. To the next episode.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you,
See you
Mia.
all.
Okay, thank you everyone. Hope this is helpful. Bye-bye.